try to address them.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Clarisse Hart, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the Outreach and Education Manager here at the Forest. My job title is actually longer than that. It's basically a list of keywords of things that I do. So today I'm going to talk about some of the education programs that we have here and some of the ways that media outreach and exhibits and other outreach activities have boosted the research visibility of all the great research that's going on in the forest. And then I'm also, of course, going to talk about how all of you can get involved in helping out with these efforts. So the first thing I want to talk about is probably the most fun. It's our K-12 Schoolyard Education Program. And this is a program that started in 2005, and it's coordinated by Pam Snow, who does an incredible amount of work with a very limited amount of resources and a very limited amount of time. The gist of the program is to get K-12 students out into the field doing ecological research. And we have several scientists on staff who have been instrumental in this work. They've developed research protocols that the students use. They do these teacher training workshops. They're absolutely fabulous. If you are a staff person who deals with the Schoolyard program, you can train them. So they're boards of interest. Oh, all right, well, they're great. I should have put more pictures of you guys up here. So this is a map of all of the different schoolyard locations of the schools that work in our program. There are 3 different research protocols that the students follow, and they all submit data to the Hart Forest website, and then that can be analyzed over the long term. So the top left shows our vernal pool study, which is looking at water depth changes throughout the season and over time. There's a second protocol there where it's a phenology study that students are looking at fall leaf drop and spring bud burst and changes over time. And then the bottom one is an invasive species study that's looking at the hemlock woolly available infestation levels changing over time. We're in over 50 schools, and annually we reach more than 3,000 students, so a huge impact from this program. And we actually are looking at developing a 4th protocol that deals with carbon sequestration and land use change. And we also are looking at developing a collaboration with the Harvard Museum of Natural History so that we can reach a lot more teachers that are based in Boston and Cambridge. So just to tell you a little more about how scientists get involved with this program, in the top left you see a picture of a data workshop. We have several of those that go on throughout the fall and winter, and these can start very basic, where we just teach the teachers how to input their data onto the website. But we actually just implemented a 3rd level of data workshops that happened this January. And it was pretty amazing because teachers came in with really specific graphing goals that they wanted to accomplish, either for their students or with their students. So looking at long-term data, comparing different sites, or interlaying abiotic factors like precipitation and temperature over their data that the students collected. So pretty cool stuff happening with these teachers. Every spring they do a series of presentations here. The next one is April 11th, and it's really inspiring to come and see what the teachers have been doing. They share their lesson plans, they share what's working in the classrooms, they share grants that they've written to leverage their schoolyard funds, they write articles to spread the gospel of the citizen science stuff. These are very hard-working teachers, and because of that, a lot of times they win awards. So this is just one picture of a Massachusetts teacher getting a state environmental education award, but pretty much every year we have teachers who are winning awards for this work. Here I've just shown one article that a teacher wrote for the magazine Science and Children, just showing how the work that gets done here is very visible nationally, and one of the most important things that these articles can achieve is showing how this kind of work attaches or can facilitate these standards that everyone has to conform to, right, nationally and at a state level. So this work very much fits into that infrastructure. On the right-hand side, something that should be interesting to researchers is that NSF has this program called Research Experiences for Teachers that allows teachers to come here during the summer and actually work one-on-one with a mentor, sort of like our summer research program. And those teachers, like here's a 5th grade teacher named Katie Bennett, who did an RUT with Erin Ellison, and she ended up publishing a scientific paper out of it, which is pretty incredible for a fifth grade teacher with not much science background. She really worked hard and learned a lot. The next thing I'll tell you about is our summer research program. Most of you guys are probably pretty familiar with this. It is a growing program. We now have more than 30 undergraduate students every summer who come to the forest and do 11 weeks of independent research with a mentor. Let's see, what can I tell you about that? There are a few things that we are doing differently recently with our summer program. One of them is group projects. So you see groups over here who are working on one central research question, but there are several mentors who are working kind of in an interdisciplinary way on that research question, and then several students who are working together. So there's a lot of peer mentorship that's happening, and there's just a lot more that can be accomplished on the research question in this group structure. We have a really strong commitment to diversity in our program. So we try to recruit applicants who come from groups traditionally underrepresented in the sciences. And somewhere between a third and one half of our program is students who come from those groups. And that's something that's really important to us. When the students are here, they don't just do research, they also have evening seminars by researchers. You should all consider doing one of those evening seminars. They also have a career day, they have a grad student panel. And so we're not just teaching them how to do research, we're also teaching them how to be scientists. And that has implications for them and their career paths moving forward. So we keep track of the publications that they do with their summer data, the presentations that they do, the senior theses that they do. This only goes to 2009, but Aaron tells me that he has data for the past 2 years and the line will just keep going up. So lots of great science coming out of these students. So this graph is really interesting, and it bears a little explaining. So we were interested in how the program has actual quantitative and qualitative impacts on students' career paths and educational paths after they leave here. So we did surveys of program alumni, and we looked at program alumni from 2001 to 2008. And from the students who were surveyed, 67% of them were still students, and 3/4 of them are in programs that go with ecology or environmental career. The third of them that went right into the workforce, 84% of them are in ecology or environmental career. So because this program obviously has these impacts on these students, what we end up with is a cohort of students who can really help each other with networking. So as the outreach manager, I took it upon myself to create a blog and a Facebook site and a LinkedIn page so the students can keep in touch with each other, and say students who have the same mentor or work on the same kinds of research can really talk with each other and look at job opportunities. If any of you ever have a job opportunity, you should send it to me, because when I post it on that Facebook or LinkedIn page, we get lots of likes. There's also a blog for, during the summer program, the students take photos and they write project profiles and put it up there, and that's great for prospective students, it's great for funders. It's just a great way to encapsulate the research and also help students think about the so what of their research, which I think is really important. One other thing that I do that I think is good research visibility both for the student and for the mentor is we reach out every summer to every media office at the universities that the students come from. And last year, a third of the students got featured by their university. And they often feature the faculty mentor as well. So good stories there. And one student and mentor pair actually got featured in the New York Times. Not because of my outreach to a university. But nonetheless, we were very excited. It's actually a great article about how forests are key to climate protection. One thing that I should say about the summer program is that we are always looking for new research projects. Those get submitted in the summer for consideration. And a mentor can be a PI, it can be a postdoc, and occasionally it can be a grad student. So if you have a project in mind, just know that new projects get priority funding. And the projects are funded not just by NSF and LTER, but they're also funded by NASA, by several different universities, Harvard, Mount Holyoke, Lakeland University. So lots of different sources of fees. One other thing that's going to be happening this summer that we're really excited about, I don't know if the admins are as excited about it because it's going to be just insane here, but field school in archaeology and paleoecology that is going to be run through the Hart Summer School, and it's 6 days long, and it's residential, and there's a site that is definitely within walking distance of here, and it's an old tannery site from the colonial period. And in 2010, students came in, this is a picture from then, led by Diana Doucette, who's at UMass and the Peabody Museum at Harvard. And they dug up some sites within the tannery, I think within the tannery residence, and an old bark mill. So lots of interesting stuff to look at. They also found a Native American site that's probably about 4,000 years old. So here's some of the artifacts that got dug up at that point. That's a Native American grinding stone. That's the brick floor part of the tannery, and that's a miscellaneous bottle. It was intact. And they're going to be here at the same time as our summer students. So it's going to be a wild and crazy place, I'm pretty sure. But so that means that so they're going to be attending the evening seminars with our summer students. So the evening seminars during that six-week period hopefully will be quite a bit more interdisciplinary and of interest to students who are thinking about history and archaeology and won't just be focused on whatever the students are. So during the academic year, we do quite a bit of programming with Harvard University. Some of this is new, some of this has been going on a really long time. The top line there is the winter break program, and that happens for a week in January, and this is the second year that we've done it. It's a lot of fun. We bring the students here, 10 students, who come from all different disciplines. We have had students who are physics majors and chemistry majors and of course biology majors, but also folklore and mythology majors, women's and gender studies majors, linguistics majors, and they have a week of programming that has many, many, many different instructors that ranges from what you would imagine to be kind of Harvard Forest content, which would be global change experiments. We make them snowshoe around, although this year they didn't have to snowshoe. And they look at the towers, and they look at all kinds of our excellent long-term research. But they also get to do natural history writing, and they get to do art workshops. This was a pastel drawing, part of the pastel drawing that a student did. And a landscape design professor came and talked to them about road ecology in the city of Gardner. It's a big chair. So it's a fantastic program, and we're hoping to run it again in future years. So if you like to think in an interdisciplinary way about the research that you do with the forest, let me know, and maybe we could think about getting you to be part of that. Similarly, our Harvard Freshman Seminar takes place in the spring over 3 weekends. It's 3 intensive weekends. Obviously, it's just for freshmen, so these are very eager students. They're a little more science-focused, so the title is Global Change Ecology, and of course that's interdisciplinary by nature. We're really having them dig deep into the long-term experiments that we do here, and also getting them to think about the science policy implications, so getting them to think about issues like the Future Scenarios Project. And I do a communications workshop with them, teach them how to talk to reporters, teach them how to do an elevator speech, think about how to talk to a policymaker. So it's a pretty innovative program. The last one, David Foster hinted at when he spoke this morning, so I won't say too much because he actually said everything that I know about it. But the Harvard Law School is going to be doing an environmental clinic based on the idea of forest carbon credits and whether it would be appropriate for an institution like Harvard to think about its carbon holdings at Harvard Forest and potentially do something with that. So it's an interesting way to expand our carbon research for the forest. A major part of what I do that everybody can get involved in is media outreach. Kathy said that the story doesn't end at press releases, and that's very true, but the press releases nonetheless are very important. So if you have a paper coming out or some kind of student news, just shoot me an email and let me know, because there are a lot of different places that I can plug that into. You can put it on the Facebook page, I can tweet it. I can put it on the Harvard Forest homepage and my news and highlights about Harvard Forest research. or it might be appropriate for a press release. And when I do a press release, I act as like the reporter intermediary for you. I interview you and you tell me more about the research. I put together the press release, you approve it, you give me some photos, I send it out to our pretty extensive press mill, and then I set up the interviews for you. I schedule the reporters to call you in a distinct period of time, so it's not too much of a time save for you. If it's a really big story, like last summer we did an Asian automobile research story, Dave Bowling was very brave to talk to many, many reporters, and we got a lot of great stories written in Boston Globe and elsewhere. And I don't want to say that there's cause and effect necessarily, but that paper that we were highlighting is in the Canadian Journal of Forest Research. It tops their most read articles. So yeah, it does good things for the researchers. On the top right, you see another type of journalist outreach that we do that I think is really important. One of the best things that we can do for media professionals is get them here and teach them about science. And so the Logan Science Journalism Program, which is an initiative out of MBL that Kathy mentioned, they're going to be coming to Harvard Forest to actually get their hands dirty and do some ecological data collection and analysis for 3 days. And then hopefully, maybe they'll be inspired to write about Harvard Forest as well. I think having this kind of literacy in the media community is really important to actually getting the right message. In the bottom right, this could be a whole other talk, but we've been doing a number of video projects with various filmmakers. We hired Roberto Maidis right there. He's been working with all of our PIs here to document and describe their research, and we are going to have a series of 5 web-based 5-minute videos that are going to go online hopefully in the next 2 months, which I'm really excited about. There's also a filmmaker who, with NSF money, has been working across LTER sites and is trying to document kind of what LTER does in a really accessible way. And he has absolutely beautiful footage. So it's great to see that happen. The bottom left here is not something that is media outreach per se, but it is something that is new, and it's that our Friday seminars that are about research and have speakers from certainly New England, but sometimes outside of New England about great science, they live stream online. So on Friday mornings at 11 o'clock, you can log in and you can watch the slides and you can listen to the talk, and you can also type in questions to be answered. I won't go over all the awesome things that are on our new website, but just suffice to say that it is a fabulous new website, and there's a lot of new functionality in it that is going to be better for getting our science across. So one thing that you can do actually is, if you have research at the forest, look in this little search box and type in some keywords from your research and see what pops up in the search, and then look at that content. If it's not adequately describing or if it's not up to date as you want it to be, just let me know, and I will update that. Hopefully I won't get a flood of emails over the next couple of years. We worked pretty hard on the site. I'm almost done, but one thing that I wanted to say that has been absolutely broadening the visibility of the Harvard Forest research is the museum exhibits. So in the top left, we have a new exhibit at the Harvard Museum of Natural History. It's on New England forests. It's fabulous. It is the newest permanent exhibit, and it's very much, obviously, Harvard Forest focused. A lot of different faculty members from outside of Harvard Forest also contributed, but like all the murals are of Harvard Forest, a lot of the video content is Harvard Forest, pretty much a lot of the content is Harvard Forest. And they have these great videos online with interviews with Harvard Forest people, and then they have a public event series that is called Challenges and Choices, that's about forest conservation and why it's important, and that's about carbon sequestration and all these kinds of issues that inform public and policy decisions. So all of that has been pretty much at no cost to us, except for my staff time and scientists' staff time and contributing to the videos and stuff. So it's been an incredible boon to us to have this exhibit. In the right-hand side, you see something that happened just a few weeks ago, actually, at NSF. This new exhibit that's going to be up through June just went up. It's of scientific art. And it's called Long-Term Ecological Reflections. It's focused on 3 different LTER sites that were in the forest in one. And this is from some pilot money that we got from LTER to incorporate the arts in what we do. We ended up having some artists and residents, and they made great work. So I'm very excited that that's up at NSF and that they're taking seriously. And it's hopefully going to, that same art is hopefully going to travel to ESA and to the All Scientists meeting, and then maybe to the Providence, no, not Providence, Portland Airport. So this art has legs. Another thing that we do here a lot is touring the forest. A lot of you in the audience actually have helped us out with tours. Even just spending 1 hour or 20 minutes with a group that's coming through, and we have thousands of people that come through every year, is incredibly valuable for that group. We have all kinds of people. We have K-12 students, we have university students at all levels, and from all disciplines. And we have professional groups, we have foresters, we have conservation professionals, all kinds of people who come. And so if you're interested at all in talking to the public about your research, let me know, because I can plug you into that situation. We're also thinking about this museum as a space and as a face for Harvard Forest and how we can improve it and bring more data into here so that people know what we're up to. So if you have any ideas about how we might improve the museum, let me know. One last thing I want to talk about, Kathy talked about this a little bit. Conservation outreach is something that I've been pretty involved with for the past couple of years. This little document, which is free and which you're welcome to take copies of, was sort of 6 months of my life designing it and making it accessible, I think. And I just think it's really important that we remember that it isn't just our responsibility to do good science about forests and to understand how people's decisions affect forests, but also, when we can, we need to try to influence people's behavior. So that's one thing that WW does, and Kathy described a little bit how that's done. One great example of influencing people's behaviors in a really positive way is the Keystone program, which has been here at the forest for one weekend every year since 1988. And it's a partnership between us and UMass. Dave Kittredge is instrumental in leading this, and it brings 20 volunteers, kind of community leaders in conservation because they are landowners and because they work at a conservation nonprofit. And they come here for a weekend and they learn about the ins and outs of how to really be a community leader in conservation and make change. And they go out and they end up doing that. And so we now have this great network of people who are in these really high-profile, can make public changes kind of places in their communities and in their states. So that's part of what we do in terms of conservation outreach. So ways that you can get involved in all of this work, from easiest to most intensive. But they range from, you can just watch our Friday morning seminars, or you can send me job announcements, or you can send me news. All of those are very important. You can consider a conversation with me about the impact sections of your grant. I'm happy to talk to you about that, how you plug into Harvard Forest broader impacts. You could present a seminar for our summer programs, or you could become a mentor. All of these things are very valuable to us. So I really like to thank all the people who make my job possible. My job really would not be possible if it were just me, like typing to no one. So thanks to everybody who makes all this work possible and who really boosts the visibility of the great research that goes on here. Okay, we have time for one question.
I'll just say really quickly, as a testament to the wonderful REU program here at Harvard Forest, one of our most recent hires for ecosystem ecology faculty at the Odom School of Ecology, University of Georgia, was Nina Wurzberger, who was a Harvard Forest REU student with Jerry's, probably the original Prospect Hill warming experiment. Must have been like the first year, 2001. But yeah, so thanks.